It's Jeff Sauer here. Welcome to Profit School. And today's episode, I'm going to be talking about how to be way more productive than you deserve to be and how we stay ahead. Because a lot of people tell me every time I have a one-on-one conversation, man, you are creating a lot. How are you so effective? How are you creating all these things? How are you staying sane? And the reality is that the more that I gain leverage, the more that I use process, the more productive I can be. So it's more of an additive thing versus like a lot of people hit their limits because they don't have a very good process or they don't have the tools, they don't have the ability to get this thing done. So hopefully you're going to pick up a few of these things and you can start implementing them right away and becoming more productive yourself. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to be sharing with you, first of all, deep research. So number one is deep research. And deep research is a method in several different tools. We have the Gemini one that we're looking at right now. We have ChatGPT has this, Perplexity has it. There's even one that I found that allows you to do it on your local machine, but I haven't done that myself, so I'm not going to endorse that one. But ultimately, they all work pretty similar. And so in this case, I wanted Google to learn everything that they can about the best results when handing instructions over to a graphic designer. And then bonus points if they can also generate instructions for handing over to AI to create more consistent images. Now, the problem that I was running into is that I would get some good results with AI images and then some really bad ones. And I just wanted to get better at prompting. And I had this idea, this epiphany, and I was like, why don't I just treat AI like it's a designer? Like I would be sending a brief to a high-end graphic designer, to a $500 graphic designer, and give them the same instructions and see if they do better when that happens. And so I first started out by doing this just by chatting with Gemini, chatting with ChatGPT, and said, create designer instructions. And it worked. And so I kept on using that chat over and over again. Sometimes it worked great. Sometimes it didn't work as well. And I was like, okay, well, how do I make this more consistent? Now, if you watch my last video, you will see we have design director, and that's the output. So this is the research that went into our design director that gets me more consistent results. So make sure you check out that video. We'll make sure we link to it as well, which talks about how we are able to get past the design woes with AI by using design director. But it all started with this idea of deep research. And so I ran a deep research report. The way that it works inside of Gemini is that it's going to tell you what it wants to do, what it's going to go look through. It creates a research plan, and then it goes through and it helps you create the report. And all I have to do is hit start research. So I did that, and it created this right now. It created this right here. And from all in time was about 6 or 7 minutes. And then it creates this research report, and it's going everything. Like, how do you do vision to visuals, art and science of instruction? So it gets into the instructions, and this is pulling research from all over the internet, all over the world, and what happens. Like, what do you need? A project foundation. What do you need to know about the company? What do you need about the design, the things that are going on there? So all this research goes into our design director bot, and it allows us to give people what they're looking for. What colors do you want? What typography? All the questions that you didn't know to ask. All the questions that fill in your blind spots. Now, I'm a very, 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 very big advocate of using AI to fill in your blind spots. You don't know what you don't know, so have it help you out with that. And you can see this is a pretty comprehensive research report. If you've never worked with a designer, this is pretty much everything you need. It's pulling from all these different places, all kinds of different courses, Reddit, everywhere, right? It's pulling all this stuff in place, and it is the foundation for how you're going to do something. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Do deep research reports. You should be doing a deep research report on anything if you're going to be doing it at least if you're going to do it more than once, or if you're not sure if you have all the information. This is what's going to be the resource to get you all the information that you need. So run deep research report, get used to it. Next one I'm going to tell you is automation. So you can automate all kinds of things, and hopefully this is a good example. So if I go into here, I can just type in our Slack. We created an automation where if I just type in transcript, it'll end up, I hit this and it'll give me a little form, and it says, what transcript do you want to create? So I take the link to the video that we have, and I say where I want the transcript to go to. I hit submit, and this will automatically give me a transcript anywhere that I want to inside of our ClickUp, or I could put it into another document as well. So basically, if I want to transcribe any video, I can get a transcript immediately. Costs less than 1 cent per transcription. It's basically free, and I can do that in place. So I'm using this all the time to get transcripts. Now, the good news is that in 2025, when we record this, you can get transcript from a variety of sources. Every Google meeting that you record has a transcript. Riverside, which I'm recording this in, has transcripts. Otter.ai, you can send it, you can upload things and get transcripts. But every one of those ways of getting a transcript, Notebook LM gives you transcripts. Every one of those things has a clunky user interface. I have to click, 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 wait. This one, it's right in our Slack. And this is what only automations can do for you. There's not like a, we basically created this thing where I just type in Slack and I can do tool a day. I can do a transcript. I can do all kinds of fun stuff right into Slack. And then it kicks off an automation. So automation that's right inside of your Slack, your communication tool, or your project management tool. We happen to use ClickUp. Those are all easy and great ways to make that happen. So automation is the next one that I want to talk to you about. Okay, next we have using AI bots. Now, you've probably seen me talking about AI bots in a few of these previous videos. You see that we've released them. We have 3 free ones inside of our community. I'm partial to both Clarity Coach as well as the Offer Oracle and Pricing Pilot. These ones are all really cool. But if I want to, I can chat with my Clarity Coach and I can go ahead and I can say all kinds of stuff. So you can see it's helping me create a new conversation. And let's just say, help me prioritize. I don't know what to prioritize. Okay. So what it's going to do is it's going to find the problem, define an outcome, and then help me do one thing that I can do now to get unstuck. So Clarity Coach gets you unstuck. You see, you have the tangles, and it gets you unstuck. So okay, let's talk to Clarity Coach. So we're going to find out what our problem is. The problem is that I'm not very productive because I have too many things to do. So it's probably going to figure out what the root of the problem is, right? So what is the problem? Can you share the volume of tasks? Is it the sheer volume? Something else entirely? Fear of not completing it? Right now, taking on too much and too many variety of tasks. Okay, I'm going through this one, and it will just help me think through the problem. So next one, what's the outcome that I want? I want to know exactly what to do. Okay, step 3. What's the concrete? Let's move. Okay, so how would we do this? Would we want to do a task audit? This is something that we do internally. We have a template for our task audit, or actually our time audit. We could use that and feed it into here. We can just figure out what our first step is. We can do whatever we want to do. So this is going to help me figure out what my first step is to going forward. And so these bots are all single purpose design bots inside of our community. We have both our free bots, which I showed you right now, and then we also have our paid ones as part of our brain trust in ProfitSchool Pro. And I'm using these bots all the time for pretty much everything because they're getting me to where I need to go. Next one is just using Google Gemini every step of the way. Now, you might be like, why would somebody use Google Gemini? Well, first of all, Google Gemini is private to you and your company. So it's not going to go out in the world. They're not going to train itself on it. It's private. And so I think that's right now, that's worth it. You can see this is our company. This is for our company. This is private. Nobody else can see this thing. And that is huge. That is the biggest thing that I can think of when it comes to AI is that if I'm going to be using something for internal work, if I'm going to be getting clarity on things, I want to make sure that it's not training other models. I want to make sure that it's staying pure and there's a separation and that it's secure for me and my company. And so that's why I like Gemini. Now, what's a practical use of Gemini? Here's a good example. Every time that I get a question from somebody, I take that question and I run it through here. So let me see if I have a question that says, let's see here. So I'll take a question. Hey, Jeff, so I'll say something like, this question came in from a potential, hey, Jeff, how do I work with you on Google Ads? I think my spend is messed up and tracking isn't. And then what I do is I voice dictate into here, which is actually one of my extra points. And I just say, I'll just say, hey, what I would do is I would go through and do a thorough audit, make sure that you understand things, tracking all the different places. This can take 3 to 6 weeks. I would recommend doing it. We can do a paid one. And if you want to, we can work on it. So if you want to get on a call, I can talk about how we would do this process. But I'm pretty confident that at the end of the time, working with you, we're going to have a pretty good idea as to your ad spend, why it's messed up, why tracking isn't working. And so let me know if you want to book a call. So that's just me talking, right? And So let's just see what it does. Now I'm not giving it very good direction because I'm recording in here, but ultimately I want to turn this into a response, right? So they're going to turn this into a response, and let's see what this looks like. And trust me, I do this all the time. I get emails and I put it in place. So they give you, okay, here you go. Thanks for reaching out. It's a common thing, frustrating. Yeah. So this is ultimately, they gave me these options. And that's one option. Option two, and this is pretty minimal instruction. And it gave me a bunch of different options of how we can do it. And then I just work back and forth until I get the response that I'm looking for. You can also train Gemini on how you want to respond. Do I really say sincerely? No. How do I talk? What title do I put in there? You can train it on those things. And basically, you can have a pretty good response that does everything you want it to. It's in your voice because you used your voice literally, and you're getting the point where you're answering the email quickly. And so this is my fastest way, my biggest time hack for getting back to people on emails and having a better response than I've ever done before. So use Gemini every step of the way. And I just cheated a little bit because I said Gemini, and then I said, and I showed you the voice dictation. But number 5 is use voice dictation in order to get the response that you're looking for. So what do I mean by voice dictation? So I start talking. So in Gemini, there's a use microphone. If you've already typed something in here, that microphone goes away and it hits the send button. So you want to make sure that's the first thing you do. There are some limitations. Sometimes if you talk for a while, it gives up on you and so on. But ultimately, this is how we're going to go through, how we'd want to go through and figure this thing out. And so we're going to go into Gemini and we're going to say, hey, I'd like to create a summary of this video where I'm talking about 10 things you can do in order to be more productive than you deserve to be or that you think you can be. Now, this is going to go on YouTube, and so I want to make sure that I have this description right. So can you help me come up with some titles for how I might name this thing, name this video, maybe base it on other successful YouTube channels and so on and so forth, and help me come up with this. If you need me to feed you the 10 points, let me know and I can do that. Otherwise, we are going to just go with this. So that's just me talking, and you can see it's processing and it's going to come up with something. Now, is it going to be good or great? We don't know yet, but it's going to be better. It's at least going to be thinking about this thing and it's starting to work. Then you make the refinements to it. And that took almost no time. You know how long it would take me to type that? You know how boring it would be for this video to do that? So this is what we want to look at. It's doing the research for us. Basically, voice dictation it's an assistant, like an executive assistant, but your executive assistant is smarter than you, faster than you, more thorough than you, can crawl text. It can do all the stuff that you need a assistant to do, but it does it automatically right away. And so you have all these different ideas without the delay, without the lag. So it's not like you take something and offload it to your assistant. This is your assistant, and it's giving you the response right away. So you're not coming back a week later with something that's not complete, or you realize that you had poor instructions. It's just going forward and making it work for you. And so that's how you do it with voice dictation. This is basically, it turns any AI tool, but Gemini and ChatGPT, which I use a lot, into being a assistant for you. Now, here's the other thing. Use multiple models, okay? So here's the next tip, is to use multiple AI models. So let's do the same thing with Gemini and see the difference. Or excuse me, this is ChatGPT, and see the difference. So we're doing this for Gemini. It says the key ingredients, curiosity, benefit. It gives us some ideas, and we have this in place. Now let's look at what's going on here, and we're going to see what's going to happen. So this is ChatGPT 03, which is the reasoning model. It takes a little bit longer. Then it tells you what it's looking through and how it's working on. It's searching some Ali Abdul things, all kinds of stuff, right? So then it's going to come up with our summary. Now, this is telling us exactly what it's going through, and what it took 28 seconds for that to happen, but it's basically saying 10 evidence-based. So these are a bunch of titles that I can use and why they're coming in. This is great. Like, you know how long it would take to do this research, to have a virtual assistant do that or an executive assistant do that? So much work, right? And this gives me a ton of ideas. It gives me a description, everything that's right here. And then I can sort through it and figure out which one I like. And now I have options. The other thing you can do, and I'm saying using AI models against each other, let's just go ahead and say which of these, which is the best fit. And then I just paste the other one in there. And now I'm ping-ponging back and forth between the different AI models. And you know what's going to happen is it's going to tell us, it's going to keep on going and getting more information until we have a complete picture. Now, I find Gemini is really good at, it's really positive. It talks to you, and it sort of takes your stuff and organizes it really well, but it doesn't really do as well with research. It's not as creative. I think ChatGPT can be nice and creative, same with Claude. And so I like to get the creative things here and then put it into the logic of what I said in place. And so you see it's taking this stuff, 10 rules for beating burnout with getting more done. So they're giving us a bunch of ideas for what we could call this video we're working on here. And then they're telling you why. They're giving you the reason. 10 productivity hacks I wish I learned sooner. Now, I might refine this and say, well, why you didn't mention AI or this thing's about AI? Notice I didn't even give them the 10 points of what we're going to talk about. So if I drop the 10 points in here, let's see, does it give us something different? Here are 10 points. Does this change the... And then my other hack, which I'm going to show you a little bit later, is that I just drop the transcript from the video after I record it when it has everything, and then it comes up with a pristine and amazing title. Okay, so that's the ultimate form of voice dictation. That's the ultimate form of ping-ponging off of different AI models, is that I'm taking everything I said in this video, and then I'm coming up with the perfect title to summarize what we talked about. And so that's where it works in an amazing way. So you can see here's the 10 points, and they're saying it does change the recommendation. This is about technology AI, which is what I was saying. That's what the video is about. My 10-point AI system for unfair productivity. That's pretty cool. So you can see we're iterating, we're ping-ponging, and this probably wouldn't be nearly as good. We wouldn't have all these choices if we would have just stuck with my poor input and with one AI model, and then without all the stuff. That we would be stuck with something like 10 productivity hacks that achieve more than you think. That's really boring. This one, my 10-point AI system for unfair productivity, that's pretty cool. I'd want to know what that is, because it's unfair and it's adding on things even more. So you see how that's working. So that's why we ping pong things. That's why we use multiple ones. Next one, best tool for the job. What is the best tool for what job? And in this case, is this the right tool for the job here? Is ChatGPT the right tool for the job, or is it Gemini? You can use multiple models. You can have them in place. And in fact, I have tools that I use for copywriting. I use Gemini, the Genesis copy coders bots for that. I built my own bots for design directions and instructions. We have these bots that I showed you in here. You're using the best tool for the job. You're creating the chat. You're looking at things like, this is really good at creating images inside of ChatGPT. Claude is really good at writing code. Deep research on ChatGPT can be really good as well. So what is the best tool for the job? Don't be afraid to use the best tool for the job, and don't be afraid to look at these different ones for what they can do. And that leads me to number 8, which is always be open to change. So again, I have this title. So what I'd say is, this gave me a bunch of ideas, and I'd say that's really great, right? Really good. What if I'm wrong? What other things should I include in this video to make it great? So it's taking a little bit of time, but it's going to go and figure out what our blind spots are. Okay. This is taking a lot longer than I thought it would. So maybe I'll move on to the next bullet point while we're waiting. Okay, here we go. The self-awareness of wrong. It's saying don't trust, show, don't just tell. So it's saying how to do it, add proof, the why, acknowledge the downsides. Okay. And then they're saying, here's what this might look like for my video. Relatable origin story. Don't just jump into the list. Start by telling a short. Okay. So this is where, if we want to go and move forward and put that in there, I haven't even gotten to point number 9, but I want to show them gusto. And I want to show you that. But this is basically our way of going through and making your ideas better by saying, what if I'm wrong? Okay. So that's the thing. Be open to change. And that is number 8. Always be open to change. Next one, bake your core values into what you're doing. So we've baked AI and we've baked everything with automation and everything we're doing here into our core values. So our core values at our company are what we call gusto. Gusto stands for 5 different things. You can see them on here. G, good enough to get going. It means don't be perfect. Never be perfectionism. Always go with something that's good enough to get going, and then you can always make it better later. Right? You can always do this later. And this is where most people who have perfectionism can't even get off the ground because they think that it needs to be perfect. Nobody expects you to be perfect. AI is not perfect. AI hallucinates all the time. There's no such thing as a perfect answer. The perfect answer is perfect for right now. And the perfect thing you can do is to get there faster, as fast as possible. And AI allows you to do that. And that's the third one, speed to result. How do you get the result faster? If you don't think that AI is going to give you a faster result because of the speed, even after what I'm showing you right now, if it doesn't, you don't think you're going to be more productive, then you're not really understanding the point of this thing. You have to be more productive if you're even just if you're cutting out the middleman, if you're just going in right to getting answers and you're being resourceful, you're doing all these techniques, you are getting results faster. Is it the perfect result? Doesn't matter. It's good enough to get going, and then you can improve it later. You can make it better later. Let's go back to you. Use the system to improve the system. So we have a system here in ClickUp, and we always want to make that better. So if I have a good enough to get going version and I get a result, then I want to use a system to continue to improve that. Systems have to be open to feedback. They have to be dynamic things that you can grow, and that's what we do here. Trust but verify. So I need to trust, and this is super applicable to everything when it comes to AI. You need to trust it, but you can verify it. And that's where we're going through. We're saying, hey, good enough to get going, speed to result, use a system. Trust but verify makes it better. And then you take out the trash. The thing that doesn't work, you just get rid of it. So AI is making this recommendation about what I should do, include a short section of the biggest mistake people make. The biggest mistake you make is that you don't take out the trash when you're done. Okay. So there you go. The number one biggest pitfall to avoid is not taking out the trash when you're doing this stuff. It's to take this stuff at face value and paste it in there and think that because AI says that it's good. That is absolutely not what I want you to do. Just because you did a deep research report does not mean this is perfect what we're doing. You need to trust but verify. You need to take out the trash. And the way that we do that is by running more deep research reports, looking at the outputs, verifying the answers, and saying, does this make sense? Because actually, I don't agree with the unifying framework of Gusto being the secret weapon when it's not even the framework. I just showed it to you and it's giving me completely different things. It just completely made that up. And so if I didn't TBV that and I didn't take out the trash, and this would make it into something, and I'd be like, yeah, this is going to be a really bad video because I don't mean it. I don't even know what it means. Okay, so those are the core values, and I think that you could use this for yourself as well. Go forward with Gusto in everything you do, and it will be better as a result. Next one, fingertip-friendly architecture. So this is the tray that I'm using in order to create this video. So you can see here, it's the date that it's going to go live. It's going to be the title. This is not the final title because I'm going to fix that better. But then I put in the Riverside into here. I can put in the transcript so I can have text for it. I can put things into a Notebook LM. I can create a thumbnail. And I know where it's going to be in Google Drive. And this is all based on a template. So I just copy this template. You see, I copied it from the template right here. And it ends up being exactly where it needs to be. Okay. And so I make changes to it. I drop in this piece and I'm ready to go as far as recording. And then when I'm done, I go into my description and title generator and I drop in, you can see I do this for every video. I drop in the transcript of it and it comes up with a title idea. And if I like it, I go with it. If I like one of these other ones better, I go with that. And that ends up making it into the world. I write my description. I improve it. I use the system to improve the system. I take out the trash. I clean this thing up. I trust but verify. But I'm getting things done way faster because it's all fingertip friendly. So you make your AI fingertip friendly. Take that time this is what we call use the system to improve the system. Okay. So this is the use step. You got to go ahead and improve it. So every time I make a video, I iterate on it to make it even more fingertip friendly, to update it to our most current truth, to make sure that it's there. And what it does is it makes it so that it's easy for our video editor to know how to edit things. It makes it easier for when we're posting this on social to know what's in there because it's all right here. This is the expectation. This is basically our SOP. Now, a lot of people used to have SOPs and they used to worry about that stuff all the time and keep them up to date or have them in a hard drive collecting dust. This is the SOP. There is no hard drive with an SOP. This is it. That's what using the system to improve the system is. It means that you don't need an SOP. The system is the SOP. Okay. Taking out the trash means that it's always the latest version. Good enough to get going means that you're not being stalled out by perfectionism. And then everything leads to a speed to result because you're not waiting on anybody. You're not waiting on anything. Even your own lack of knowledge, you're filling in your blanks as you go along. And you're always trusting but verifying the output from these tools. Okay. And that leads us to number bonus. Okay. So now we have a bonus in there and it's combining the old and the new. So here's my template for sending out a newsletter. Okay. And this is what I mean around things like SOPs and everything. So it used to be a pretty long process to create a newsletter. Now I just map out each step. So we need to create a tray to talk about this thing. We need to create a text thing. Here's my SOP on it. And when I say old and new, I used to record a video and then ask somebody to create an SOP, or I'd create an SOP from that video. Now we can just transcribe this thing, copy that link, run it to transcript, create a transcript for it, and then turn that into Gemini and say, give me an outline of exactly what I'm saying in that video. And then we can turn it into our plan right here. So the SOP gets up to date and then people know what's going on. So they don't have to watch 1,000 videos. They don't have to do this 1,000 times. Actually, one time watching me do this process, it's already there where we can turn it into a repeatable SOP process and make sure we don't miss anything. That's the thing, is we can figure out all of our blind spots. So you take something old, which is an SOP, and you turn it into something new, which is the ability to put it in a dynamic system and to process that really fast. And this allows you to get way more done without having as many roles. So this is the crazy thing that AI unlocks for you that I really am excited about, and that I want you to understand. If you had one big takeaway from this thing, it's that what AI unlocks for you is that by taking the time that you would take you to explain to somebody, and then to get their feedback loop for them to learn it and push it forward, and then to get it back and incorporate it, that was a 1 day, 3 day, 5 day, 2 week thing, right? That's always been the slowest thing, is the human interaction time. Now, if you can have AI mimic the role of that human, whether it's through a bot that you develop or you use from ProfitSchool, or if it's from a chat, or if it's from a deep research report, or a combination of these things, if you can take over that human loop and have it so that you're doing those interactions with those specific roles through AI, and you're getting that feedback right away, you're getting that feedback in real time, you can cut down your time significantly between how you iterate on things, or how long it takes to go from one thing to the next thing. Why or how do you do that? Well, you're cutting down your time because you're not having to go back and forth, and you're taking the expertise that a virtual assistant doesn't actually have. They might fake it that they have it, but they don't actually have it. Or the expertise of an executive assistant who might go watch all your videos and everything like that. You're taking what would be 10 hours of their time to get you an answer. You're taking 10 minutes or 20 minutes of AI's time to get you the same answer. And that is amazing. It saves you so much time. So that's how you become more outsized productive. You cut out the middleman. You cut out the person. Now, what really makes you productive is, you can still only do so much. You only have so much knowledge. You can still then train your team members individually on how they can do it in their role and in the interactions with their role. So they're coming up to you with the same solutions that you would have done on your own, but they're doing it proactively. That's where you get to the next level stuff. Because if you're 10x more productive like I am, that's pretty cool. But if everybody on your team is 10x to 20x to 100x more productive, that's where you really have the crazy exponential unlock, the crazy profitability in your business, the crazy do more with less. And it's all better, and you're more satisfied because you're not repeating yourself. You're not working on things that aren't as exciting, and you're not making as much, you have these safeguards in place, these guardrails to make sure that you're not saying the wrong things, that you're not putting out information that's junk. When people are skeptical about AI, it's always because they are skeptical about where it is today, not where it can be. I'm here to tell you right now that today it is where it can be. And today it is something that you can use that's way better than the old-fashioned way of doing most things. But you have to go forward with gusto. You have to trust but verify. You have to have these things in place. Otherwise, you're just creating to the noise, or you're contributing to the noise. So when people say that AI is slop or AI is not good, that might be the 90% of people who use AI for mediocre purposes or who are not very good at using it. The top 2% of people who use AI are 10 to 100x productive, more productive than ever right now. And they are already running laps. So get rid of that skepticism and align yourself with the people who are doing this right, who are doing this well. I'm giving you an example. This has completely changed my entire business life, my entire life. Find people like that who are using this and pushing the boundaries, and see what they're doing. And you're going to find that it's night and day from the crap that people are saying, AI is sloppy, AI is not good. Yeah, that's not the thing that we're talking about here. We're talking about extending this way forward. So there you go, my 10 tips. Hopefully I wasn't rambling too much at the end. Out with the old, in with the new, combine the old with the new, turn it into something awesome. And I hope that you enjoy this perspective and that you are going to be implementing some of these 10 tips into your own productivity for yourself and for your business.